Mitt v. Newt. That's what we'll talk about today. Hope you're having a nice lunch. Well, the Republican field is gradually narrowing down. Perhaps prematurely, people are assuming that it's Romney against Gingrich. As you know, I still think Bachmann may have a role to play in this. But let's assume it is Mitt against Newt, and let's talk about that and how that shapes up. First of all, let me start with two very obvious things. These are both great candidates, either of whom I think has an excellent chance to defeat Obama, either of whom I think would make a fantastic president of the United States. We are so blessed with having these two as our main candidates. Don't let the media talk them down. The liberal media loves to say this is a weak field. It's not a weak field. It's two absolute powerhouses, brilliant men, both of them with incredibly distinguished records. But different. Really, what it boils down to, in my judgment, is that if your main concern is conservatism, you probably want to be for Newt. If your main concern is economic growth and curing the recession, you probably want to be for Mitt. Not that both of them won't do a good job on each of them, but when you get right down to it, conservatism, particularly social conservatism, is an acquired taste for Romney. In Massachusetts, he was pro-choice. He pushed Romney Care. He spoke about gay civil unions. And, he's not an ideological winger. He's moved to the right. And I think it's sincere. I think that he moved to the right because he learned more about what this throwaway culture of human life that choice encourages. I think he saw the catastrophe that Obamacare was, and he realized how terrible it was. I think he says it's good for Massachusetts because he doesn't want to be flip-flopping again, but I think he would be reliably, could be counted on to sign a bill repealing Obamacare, repealing it entirely. And I think he'll appoint generally conservative judges. There is a risk that he might appoint judges like Bush 41 did. He appointed Souter, who has really turned out to be a real liberal. But I think Romney will be more careful. But more importantly, there'll be a heavy Republican majority in the U.S. Senate, I think north of 55 seats. And they are not going to let President Romney appoint a moderate conservative, a center-rightist. They're going to want an Scalia or Alito or somebody like that. So I think that when you combine a conservative Congress with a President Romney, you end up with a lot of conservative stuff, but it's an acquired taste with Romney. When you talk, though, about jobs, you are clearly in this man's wheelhouse. I mean, he understands job creation from the ground up because he's done it so often. Not the way like Perry has done it, where he presides as governor and sets up some low tax and low regulatory policies, and he watches the jobs get created, and it's part because of the state hasn't had an income tax in its whole history, and he just continued that and all of that. This guy really understands what it takes to create jobs in Staples and in the various firms that he's founded and taken over and turned around. He understands about capital formation, tax incentives, the whole environment for job creation. He would probably be the best president we have ever had on the economy, on turning things around, because he comes from the economy, not from government. Now, Gingrich, on the other hand, is a reliable social conservative and a very creative one. So in the fields of national security and social conservatism and fiscal conservatism, you really have a guy who really knows that stuff and believes it deeply. Now, occasionally he's flirted a little bit with liberal stuff, like global warming with Nancy Pelosi and stuff like that. But I think that that's Newt getting a little too creative for his own good. But I think that he really is a true conservative and a brilliant one who can develop new ideas and new perspectives and new ways of doing stuff. That I think would be fantastic. I think if we elected him, he would probably be the most intelligent president we've had since John Kennedy, and before that probably Woodrow Wilson. And his knowledge of history, his understanding of issues is terribly profound. Now again with Newt, the economy is kind of an acquired skill, just like conservatism is with Romney. He would follow the conservative agenda. Newt once told me, if you want less of something, tax it more, and if you want more of something, tax it less. And that would be his approach. He would cut back taxes on business, cut back regulations, cut back mandatory unionization. But Romney would really have a much better feel for what you could do proactively to create jobs than perhaps Newt would. So it really depends less on the candidates than on you. Is your chief priority in this thing turning the economy around and bringing us back to a really good, healthy, long-term posture of economic growth? Or is your priority undoing the left-wing radical social engineering agenda of the Obama presidency? But fortunately, if you make the wrong choice, either man will do a great job of both of those tasks. And then you come to the second question, which is who would have the best chance of winning? And I think in that, clearly Romney would have a better chance of winning than Gingrich would. The very things that make him difficult as a sell in the primary, the Romney care, the abortion, and that stuff, make him more acceptable in a general election. People that oppose Obamacare but think it has some good elements might vote for Romney and otherwise might not. But I believe that with Obama messing up as he's doing, I think that Gingrich also could defeat Obama. So I don't think it's an automatic vote for Romney simply because he would have the better chance. Both of them might be able to win, and then you really could make a choice without settling for one or the other. It's going to be an interesting contest. We'll talk about it in the days to come. In the meantime, my dog has a book, Dubs Goes to Washington. And this is a book that Eileen and I wrote and our friend Clayton illustrated because we really are interested in acquainting people, young people, with America and with the various patriotic values of this country. So here's Dubs in front of the Capitol. Here's where Congress meets to spend our money. But the Capitol Police did not think it funny when Dubs ran up and down its famous hall looking all over for his missing ball. And each photo has a ball in it, and here the ball is right here. But Dubs doesn't see it. Your kids will, though. Thanks. It's available at dickmorris.com. Have a nice lunch.